Portal news. The transfer portal is incredible. It is great cinema for college football. We saw that with the Washington situation with Damon Williams ending up back at Washington, retaining good legal counsel to tell him, hey, this is stupid. Go back to Washington, say you're sorry, do all those things. They did that. Damon Williams stays at Washington. The College Sports Commission, which is supposed to be a major piece of this NIL regulatory effort, did release guidance that the third party deals that are being done have to have more juice to them. They have to have more meat. And here's the thing, there are schools that are allegedly going to hear from the CSC this week. And the problem is, and this was kind of released last week around the Brennan Sorsby recruitment with LSU, you're getting deals that are being offered at, let's use Brendan Sorsby, $3.5 million. But there's no, okay, you've got to be at this place at this time, and you've got to do this tweet, and you've got to spend this amount of time doing commercials for so-and-so brand and this and that brand. There's none of that. And the CSC is like, well, wait a second. You can't just have these open-ended NIL deals with these partner companies that then come to fruition years from now or don't come to fruition. Basically, no-show jobs for these players to earn NIL. And that is why some of these agency agreements or services agreements are getting so out of hand. And we'll have Ross Dellinger, who reported on this for On3 Sports, on at some point to talk a little bit about this. He monitors this really closely. But these third-party deals, it's really difficult to watch them come together because there's an open-endedness. So shocking, the colleges that are skirting this are some of the well-known ones about it. We've seen them. And for these athletes, it's puts an incredible amount of pressure, obviously, on them to accept the deal when they're at that level. But it's also just fascinating to watch it just be so brazen, and then it impacts the rest of the transfer portal, because I don't think we're incredibly far off with the transfer portal and it operating the way it maybe needs to. But what is happening is the money is getting to such another level because these schools are signing agreements for these kids, and the kids are signing them too, where they don't have any, there's no responsibility to actually hit it. You have a partner media company, Playfly Sports is the one that was listed in the LSU agreement, and they're just supposed to secure $3.5 million in NIL deals for Brendan Sorsby. And what that looks like, who knows? But that's the agreement that then gets shot through to the clearinghouse, and it's like, whoa, wait a second. There has to be direct activation. There has to be, what is he going to do? That all has to be listed and broken down. So that's where, one, either schools are going to have to take it up to the next level where, okay, you have your partner, but your partner is going to have to be involved in signing said player. And hey, Brendan Sorsby, you're now the quarterback at LSU. Here's what we're going to get you with. We're going to get you with Raising Cane's, and that's going to be $1 million of your deal, and that's going to be the mother load of it. And then we're going to get you with a walk-ons, and we're going to do a walk-ons deal with you, and then we're going to have the car dealership in town, and it's going to be all these different separate pieces that add up to $3.5 million, which then have to be approved with all the direct activations. And you have to do that in the portal when guys are taking 4 visits in 5 days. I mean, it's still a joke in that regard, but that's what it needs to be if it's going to be at that level. So the portal is wild. Cam Coleman committed to Texas, and a lot of people talking about, $4 million, an insane level. We'll see kind of what comes out from that, but you have such an issue with some of these deals being signed where it's just, hey, yeah, we'll commit that to you. We'll commit that. That's fine. that'll get pushed through. That that's something that it's going to be really interesting to see how all of that plays out and which schools get reached out to by the College Sports Commission to kind of get this right and get it back into the right spirit that it was originally put out there for. Because man, if you're asking me what needs to be done, NIL, and this is where they can't put the genie back in the bottle, but they should. NIL needs to be rolled back to the collectives and kind of operate it how it was. And here's the thing, the big brands of college football got upset with how a Texas Tech, with how some of these schools were operating with their collectives. SMU, when SMU was rolling with their collective, like that was a huge deal. And all those schools got upset because they were able to just raise money and then have these kids represent their collectives and represent their schools in a sense. And they just had to raise the money to make it happen. They did. So then when they get it to this point, now the money has jumped up another level when they opened it up more to these partner media companies and things like that. And it was much calmer in a sense when you just had the collectives going at it and trying to organize basically marketing for the school through collectives or through charitable organizations. But because we went all the way to, hey, well, we don't want them doing no-show jobs and kind of doing some terrible charity work for, $150,000 on one day. Well, we've got to stop that. Let's get the media companies involved. That's where it's all now. They're no-show jobs in a sense. So it's broken. It's got to get fixed. And, that's for another day on how to fix it. But that has led to a wild portal window. And we've seen some ACC schools really step up.